The Las Vegas Raiders just made a coaching move that absolutely nobody saw coming, and it is sending massive shockwaves through the entire NFL landscape. This hiring decision is completely changing the franchise's strategy, and the front office is preparing to blow up the trade market with a series of landscape-altering moves that will rewrite the future of the silver and black. Before we dive in, smash that subscribe button if you want the fastest NFL updates on the planet. Do you really think the Raiders have what it takes to build a legitimate championship contender under this new regime? The aggressive mindset of General Manager John Spytek and head coach Klint Kubiak has the rumor mill spinning at a furious pace. There are three massive storylines developing right now behind the scenes that could completely alter this organization for the next decade. Everything starts with a blockbuster trade scenario that has resurfaced in league discussions, and it involves the absolute heart and soul of the Raiders' defensive unit. We are talking about Maxx Crosby. It is an absolute masterclass of a rumor that has the entire football world talking. According to a major analysis, a hypothetical trade package could be on the horizon that would send Crosby to the Philadelphia Eagles. In return, Las Vegas would land one of the most explosive young defensive tackles in the game today, Jalen Carter, alongside a treasure trove of valuable draft picks. On paper, this is an insane proposition because it features two absolute monsters who dominate the trenches in entirely different ways. Since entering the league, Carter has put on an absolute clinic, using a devastating combination of pure power and elite speed to completely transform the interior of the Eagles' defensive line. If the Raiders pull the trigger on this, the logic is very simple. They would be starting a brand new era by building around an incredibly young defender who can anchor the entire defensive line for the next 10 seasons. Best of all, Carter is still playing on a rookie contract, giving the team major financial flexibility before he ever commands a market-setting contract extension. On the flip side, moving on from a superstar like Maxx Crosby would be an incredibly painful and brutal pill for fans to swallow. Crosby is not just a great player, he is the literal face of the franchise. He has spent the last few seasons putting up ridiculous numbers, constantly living in the opponent's backfield, racking up tackles for loss, and making life a living nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. More than the statistics, he represents the gritty, relentless identity of what it means to be a Raider. Trading a leader of that caliber would be a massive risk. However, the premium draft picks included in this proposed package would give John Spytek ultimate leverage to inject the roster with elite talent across multiple positions of need. Right now, league insiders emphasize that this is a purely speculative concept cooked up by analysts rather than an active negotiation between Philadelphia and Las Vegas. But the fact that this is even a talking point shows just how much weight both of these defensive stars carry on the open market. It sets up a fascinating debate for the fan base. Would you rather keep a proven, elite edge rusher who leaves his heart on the field every single week, or gamble on a younger interior force who could dominate the league for the next decade? But wait until you hear what is brewing in the quarterback room, because a separate transaction is tracking as much more realistic and could go down before the regular season even kicks off. The future of Aidan O'Connell has quickly become one of the most compelling narratives in the quarterback market as teams prepare for the upcoming campaign. The Raiders' depth chart has undergone a massive shift, with veteran Kirk Cousins firmly entrenched as the starting quarterback under center. Furthermore, the development of their highly touted young signal caller, Fernando Mendoza, has become an absolute, top-tier priority for the coaching staff. Because of this new direction, O'Connell is staring down a reality where he might not have a meaningful role on the roster, currently sitting as the team's third-string option. Despite that current spot on the depth chart, O'Connell's value across the league remains incredibly solid. He has already started 17 games in his young career, proving to the entire league that he is a steady, poised, and dependable player when his number is called. While nobody is calling him an elite Tier 1 superstar, he checks every single box that NFL front offices look for in a quality quarterback. He has valuable starting experience. He is incredibly cheap against the salary cap, and he has shown he can execute an offense under heavy pressure. This exact skill set has caught the attention of a quarterback-needy team out east, the Carolina Panthers. Following the retirement of Will Grier, the Panthers' depth chart behind Bryce Young looks incredibly thin, consisting only of Kenny Pickett and newcomer Haynes King. Bryce Young is locked in as the starter, but Carolina is privately terrified of what happens if an injury occurs during the grueling regular season. Insiders believe that the Panthers' front office is going to be watching O'Connell's tape with a magnifying glass throughout the entire preseason. If their current backup options fail to impress during training camp, a formal trade offer could be landing on John Spytek's desk very soon. Comment challenge. Who is to blame if the Raiders end up trading away their valuable quarterback depth for draft picks? Drop a name in the comments section below right now. The beauty of this situation is that Las Vegas holds all the cards in these negotiations. Unlike previous years where the front office felt desperate, the Raiders are under absolutely zero pressure to move O'Connell. Spytek can comfortably reject lowball offers and keep O'Connell on the roster as a premium insurance policy behind Kirk Cousins. Alternatively, he can simply sit back and wait for a desperate team to step up and sweeten the pot with a deal that the Raiders simply cannot refuse. Las Vegas is in a rare position of power, meaning a trade will only happen if they get exactly what they want, whether that is an impact player to fill a roster hole or a high draft selection. If no team meets their asking price, they keep an experienced backup who knows the system inside and out. But as fascinating as the backup quarterback market is, it completely pales in comparison to an absolute bombshell rumor that is starting to leak out regarding the wide receiver position. This next development could completely reinvent the entire offense and give the AFC West a brand new nightmare to deal with. The entire NFL community stopped in its tracks this week when elite wide receiver Justin Jefferson was suddenly linked to Las Vegas. This wild storyline started gaining traction after notable league insider Hondo Carpenter indicated that Jefferson could potentially look for a change of scenery down the road if things do not pan out with the Minnesota Vikings' current direction. While a deal is certainly not imminent or guaranteed to happen tomorrow, the most shocking revelation is that Jefferson would reportedly be highly open to a reunion with Klint Kubiak. This connection is where things get truly interesting. Jefferson played some of the absolute best football of his career when Kubiak was directing things in Minnesota. Because of that history, Jefferson already knows the offensive scheme inside and out, which would make his transition into the Raiders' offense completely seamless from day one. Kubiak knows exactly how to utilize Jefferson's rare skill set to maximize his impact on the field. The Raiders' brand new organizational philosophy aligns perfectly with a massive move like this. The front office is fully invested in grooming the number 1 overall pick, Fernando Mendoza, to be the future of the franchise. Giving a young quarterback an elite, gold jacket talent like Justin Jefferson would instantly fast-track his development and transform this team into a postseason lock. Jefferson is a game-breaking talent who commands double teams on every single snap, which would open up massive lanes for the rest of the receiving core and force opposing defensive coordinators to completely throw away their standard game plans. Even after a season where his numbers dipped slightly due to major quarterback instability in Minnesota, Jefferson is still widely considered one of the most feared offensive weapons on earth. His route running, his ability to destroy coverage, and his talent for creating massive yards after the catch make him a truly generational player. Since John Spytek and Klint Kubiak took the reins, the Raiders have adopted an incredibly aggressive stance. They are done waiting around, and they want to accelerate this competitive window immediately while their young core is affordable. If a player of Jefferson's legendary caliber actually hits the trade block, Las Vegas will undoubtedly be at the front of the line ready to make a massive offer. Pulling off a trade of this magnitude will be an incredibly complex puzzle. The financial contract alone is astronomical, and the Vikings are not going to give up the best wide receiver in football without demanding a king's ransom of multiple first-round picks and core roster players. Minnesota still views themselves as a competitive team, which makes a mid-season split highly unlikely right now. For the time being, it remains a fascinating dream for the fan base. Which of these unbelievable scenarios do you think actually happens? Do the Raiders trade Maxx Crosby for Jalen Carter, cash in on Aiden O'Connell's trade value, or pull off the ultimate heist for Justin Jefferson? Sound off in the comments below.